There we go. Updated things. I have no instructions. And it's from SainSmart, though. Let me see if I can find it. Ah, here we go. I found it. This is what we're looking for. Okay. So we've got the LED side. And then the chip side. So, okay, I'll keep that over there in case I need it, but I didn't think we'll need it. So what do we got in here? Oh, SMD, I'm gonna need my tweezers. And possibly some flux. Yeah. Now there's two ways you can do SMD soldering, which Do I have any for the other way? I think this thing is hardened up like a rock. The solder paste doesn't last forever. Yep, the resin's coming out of my solder paste. Bummer. Well, thank you for the subprime there, Iron Squirrel. Or prime sub. Subprime. You're now welcome to use my emotes there. Yeah, that solder paste is done ski. Bummer. So, we're going to have to do the other way. So, one of the ways to do SMD soldering is put solder paste on all the pads and then using a heat gun melt the solder paste and make the resistors and everything stick. Yeah, but unfortunately my solder paste is dead, so we're gonna have to do it the other way. Yeah, see, I have no idea how long ago I bought this kit, Iron Squirrel. So I don't know how long it's been, you know, I don't know if they'll ever be back in stock again, so. Now, did they, or did they not, label these? So those are resistors. Those are resistors. Those are transistors. And these should be capacitors. Yeah. Capacitors, resistors, transistors. Which capacitors are which? Okay, so the 20 picofarad is the ones that I have 4 of. Okay, got it. Which on this side should be C2 and C3 and C4. So C3, C4. And then they are also yeah, I'm gonna try to do it all in one shot. See, I've got C6 and C7 on that side. Okay, good. So, we will start. Getting some stuff out here. And actually, We'll zoom up the... Whoop, too far. We'll zoom that up so you can see a little better of what I'm doing. Okay. You know what? Before I start this, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to refill my water. I'm going to stretch a bit, use the restroom. Any of you that need to do the same, let's do that as well. So I'm going to be right back. There we go. Finding volume controls and stuff. Yay. Okay. Back to streaming. That also gave my soldering iron time to heat up too. So. Okay, so what did I say? We need to do this on C3 and C4. C4. Shot so I can see to make sure that you guys can still see. So for this style soldering, make sure you have a clean tip, and then just one side of the capacitor. Come on, put a little dab of solder. Then, take the capacitor out. Careful not to fling it across the room. Pick it up with the tweezers. Remount that blob of solder you had on there and stick it in, and then let go. And repeat. And once you have all the devices that you were going to solder, then you solder the other side. Okay, get it solder correctly. Now, since I'm dealing with those capacitors, I know C6 and C7 on this side are the same value capacitor, just so I don't mix those capacitors up. It helps being ambidextrous when you're doing this kind of soldering. And I'm probably out of shot. Yeah, I I realized that, but Lady G. So again, I put solder on one pad, pick up the capacitor, in this case, or a resistor or whatever, with tweezers, solder it down, and take and solder the other side. Okay, done with those capacitors. Where's my other capacitors? I've got a C2. It's right here. With the pad. C5 is it here? This is my other value of capacitor. And I figured out the value of these by deduction. But the bill of material calls for 4 of the 20 picofarad capacitors. And 2 of these what are 104? 10 picofarad, I think. Okay, that's good to know, Lady G. Heat it up. Solder it in place. Rotate the board slightly. Heat it up. Pack it in place. And I realize my mic is probably not picking me up very well. There. That probably picks me up a lot better now than it did. Okay, as for resistors, I've got 10K and 47 ohm. Are these marked? Can I read the markings on them? 103 and 470. Okay, so on SMD resistors, you guys won't be able to read this, but I can. They're usually a 3-digit number. And it's the first 2 digits are the resistance, and then the last one is how many zeros to tack onto the end of it. So this in my hand right here is a 47 ohm resistor. It's 4700 or 470. So 47 and 0 zeros. This one is 103. So that is 10 and then 3 zeros, so 10K. I saw something. What did I see? Hi, Edge226. So, Edge, I was working on a Eco 377 vacuum tube oscillator that I was able to refurbish and get working again. Now this is a SainSmart clock, little DIY SMD soldering practice that I'm putting together. Having fun with SMD. I just put all the SMD capacitors on. You let the magic blue smoke out. Oh, I can't hear. Yes, you let the magic blue smoke out. Oh, you wiped the bootloader then. Okay. Speaking of Arduinos, that's what this bag is full of. Little Arduino Nanos. They're back when Amazon used to require a minimum order total to get free shipping. I used to just throw those on. Yes, Arduino Bot. Arduino Bot is interesting. Arduino Bot. Oh, why didn't you guys tell me that I put my mic right in front of my face cam? Anyways, so Arduino Bot is right there in the picture, and that is an Arduino Mega. Let me show you a few things here. He actually lists his last command that he has done. Oh, and Lady G just triggered the strobe lights. Yeah, it's always good. As for the one that you blew out the bootloader on it, though, look on Arduino's site, because there is a way to reload, reflash the bootloader. I think I have it saved, actually. Hi, littlest one. Command protocol. Where is that? I had this I looked at it the other day. Ah, here it is. Yeah, for those of you who may have wiped out the bootloader on your Arduino, there's some documentation on how to get it back from Arduino themselves. And if you're wondering, that is my oldest, that is my youngest, although you can't really see him, he's behind me. And my daughter is off doing her rehearsal for Sound of Music. She got, not the littlest child, but the next one up in the family. I forget her name. I should remember that. My daughter's playing her in a play, but whatever. Alright, anyways, on to resistors. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, Okay, so obviously the 10K resistors I have more of. Yes, the eldest brute spawn does. Okay, so what did I say? The 10K I have more of, so those are the ones we'll do first. Okay, so R6. Ah, yes, Edge, that is a problem. See, me, I have Arduinos all over the place. Because, like I was saying, back when Amazon required you to have a minimum total before they'd send out ship for free, or they would ship you things for free, I would just throw Arduinos on my orders. So, I don't need that. I need this. So, R6. R12. R14. R16. Nope, R13. R15. R17. R19. R25. I was looking at the wrong one. Where's R27? So we're starting with the 47 ohm resistors because partway through I switched. What I was looking at. Getting these tapes to peel hard sometimes, so I'll show you what I do to get them peeled here. Okay. We tilt them out. And hope I don't lose any. I already dropped one on the circuit board over here. Now I get to flip them over. I think these are the smallest ones that I can actually visually do without a microscope. And I'm not even sure what size these are. I think these are 0608s. Okay, Edge, have a happy lurk, and yeah, if you're gonna start doing that, the ISP AVR programmer probably is the best. And as a note, if you get good enough at it, you won't even need the Arduino IDE anymore, and you can just write your stuff directly in C and use the AVR programmer without the bootloader, and save that much memory on your Arduino. So, just as a note. Alrighty, so on to resistor soldering. R30. R27 is over there. R25. R19. R17. Yes, resistance is futile. Although the LED cube is sitting up there because it's got issues where it doesn't. It like. I, part of its programming went weird where like the split in the cube is now halfway in the middle of the cube. And and it was because I was trying to play around with custom patterns and I think I borked it. So that was R15. Now we do R13. And then it's R11, right? Yep. And R5, right? And the only other one on this is on this side is R27. I should have 4 on the other side of the 47 ohm. 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's easy enough. So R7, R8, R9, and R10. these things are tiny. Get off of my soldering iron. It just wants to stick to everything. Yeah, it's stuck to the tip of the soldering iron instead of the circuit board there. Now, if you want to watch a master at doing this SMD soldering, you should watch Louis Rossmann. If you don't mind a opinionated New Yorker. I can't call him foul mouth because he actually is pretty good about not being foul mouth on streams. But he is highly opinionated, and I don't mind because a lot of his opinions are the same as mine on things, especially with the right to repair and all that. Well, you're a Jersey girl. Of course you're okay with that. And a quick inspection. All looks good. And the rest of my resistors will now get solder on their pads. With that solder joint because it looks a little janky. Looks like all of them on that side. Flux out of the way. Now getting these tapes open. I take my tweezers and I just kind of try to get up under the edge to get it started. peel it back. And knock them all over the desk. Also, KB, if you eventually get good enough at soldering, you can do this too. Although it requires good eyesight, which I think both me and you are at a disadvantage on that. Speaking of which, they sent me a message that it's time for my annual eye exam. Yay! Yeah, it'd be nice for me to have a 3D printer. I just don't have a place to put it right now. I mean, I could clean off the desk that's over there that is all of my various random things pile. Okay, things are sticking to my tweezers. I think I got flux on them. Yep, no more sticky. Okay, a little sticky still. Okay, there we go. Well, I'm hoping you do too, Lady G. Have enough money for that. Mine would be I want it for like prototyping enclosures and stuff on some of the electronics that I build. Now you might see me turning these around. Resistors don't have a polarity on them. You can put them either way around. But I like them all facing the same way. I'm a little OCD, mildly OCD on that. Well, that's pretty cool, and I do like that. I mean, I like that he has, the inventor has been standing behind his product and helping you, Lady G, with all the problems that you had on yours. And I know I sent you that board, but I guess I didn't quite fix it right because something went wrong on it. Because didn't the motor just spin right back up to full speed again when you used that board? Well, what I'm thinking it is I think it's that diode. Because that's like the one thing I didn't replace was that diode. I just resoldered the other one back onto the board. And either I soldered the diode in backwards or the diode was what was bad to begin with. Which, without seeing the schematics, I wasn't 100% sure which way it went. I just made an educated guess. But what's also weird is it worked on the scope. It was as soon as you um, added a load to it, aka the motor, that it went nuts. So yeah, I'm still trying to rack my brain as to what could have been on that one. Which, if you're wondering, Iron Squirrel, Lady G sent me a circuit board to try to repair, and evidently it didn't quite get repaired like it should have. I do actually have some video footage of me doing the repair on my YouTube channel because, I can only keep so many VODs over here. But you'll see, I do games, I do electronics, I do all kinds of things over there. I even have some footage of the big celebration in Utah in 2019 of the Transcontinental Railroad. So, only if you want to, Lady G. I mean, I'll take a look at it again, but you don't have to spend the money if you don't want to. Speaking of shipping things, I need to get that El Gato in the mail to KB. I was waiting until my paycheck, which was Friday. again, and now I should have 4 resistors on this side now. Yep. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, it might be fun to get one of those boards and then throw one of those motors on there and see, and thank you, Iron Squirrel, what putting it under a load does to the circuit. Okay. Around. See, if I had a 3D printer, I'd 3D print a spool holder for my solder. And those, I kind of guessed on the size. Those fit the motor fine, I take it. Okay, all the resistors are on. It's pretty good for a guess then. Alright, now it's time to get all the transistors on. These are 3-legged. So again, you just wet one of the pads. And flow a little solder on. I think... Oh, no, there's Q13. I'm assuming since they only gave me one tape of transistors, there's only one type of transistor. So... and it's not coming out of the tape easily. Okay. These are always fun to solder. Got their Y12s, their Jelly Bean NPN transistors. They're about the same as a 29304 or what's... I think that's a PNP. Or the 2922222. I forget how many twos it is, but... See, those are tiny. I think I need those. Those can go back over there. Those can go back over there. Those can go back in the toolbox under the desk. Those I will need for the through hole in a minute. That can go down in the trash can over there. Okay. My little dime baggie can go over there. Alrighty. Again, you just heat up the solder, place it in place, make sure everything's lined up, and remove the soldering iron. Heat up solder, place it in place, remove, and repeat. This is what a human pick and place machine does. That would be another fun thing for me to get, would be a pick and place machine and a soldering oven. But again, no room. And in order to justify that kind of expenditure, I'd have to be mass producing circuit boards for sale on like Etsy or something. And you can't see because my head's in the way. I keep doing that this stream. There you part. Yep. Now do I have 4 on this side? Yes, I do. So they didn't give me any extra and I didn't lose any. But before I do that, let me solder the other legs on here. Tip is almost too big for this. Soldering joints look like trash. I'm not used to soldering this size SMD parts. One of the reasons I got this kit. Practice on soldering small SMD parts. Because people ask me, how do you get good at soldering? You do it. You practice, just like anything else. And if you're going to do anything SMD, you're going to want a temperature-controlled soldering iron. Mine's an old Vailman that I've had around forever. That I'm running at about 275 Celsius. But there's newer modern ones out there that do really well. And in fact, I've thought about upgrading, but again, it's just, I have one that works, so why? I'm gonna do something because I keep covering up. Because I'm leaning over to try to keep that. I keep covering it up. If I bring the soldering back out to here, I might be able to stop blocking you guys from seeing. That requires me just the camera. Ugh. See how well that works. Okay. Yes, I'm wearing my comfy pants, Werg, and they're plaid, and they're flannel, and they're comfy, and they're warm. Truthfully, they're also my pajamas that I sleep in. And I just couldn't be asked or bothered to get out of my pajamas this morning. Okay. SMD stuff looks good. Let's give it a quick clean and check that out. Just some isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush here. Remove the flux. Solder joints look good on that side. I got some crusty as ones on here that are sticking to my thing. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think we can move on to through hole components. What does it suggest that we do next? The crystal oscillators is what it suggests next. So, we've got Y1 goes right here. Which he is a 12 kilohertz or megahertz clock. I should Iron Squirrel, but I currently do not have any. Okay, I just dropped a bunch of frames. That's what hiccuped. Good to know. Stop it! We're so good today. Why all of a sudden? The trick with these is you solder one leg. Make sure it's still in position and flat against the board. And then you solder the other leg. So there's that in place. Those stick up a little hard. Yeah, Twitch does this to me every now and again, where it'll hiccup and start dropping frames. I guess I do need these because I need to bend these leads. That's the correct spacing that I need because it suggests that I solder the can to a pad on here, so come on. Nope, that was too far. It was too far away from the can. Adjust it slightly. Spread those out so it's a little easier to get in there this time. Ugh, and that falls out. Okay, try and get those somewhat straight up and down. Solder one in. These are gonna work. Adjust it a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. And it suggests there's a pad right here. It suggests to solder the can down so it's not flapping around in the breeze. If you hear any loud noises, that's the garbage being picked up outside. I don't know if that'll come out over stream or not, but I can hear it through my headphones. So. Okay. Crystal oscillators are in place. Next, it suggests the LEDs. Okay. If I can see straight. That was weird. There we go. We'll put those off to the side for the moment. Separate the red out from the green here. Because the red goes every like 5th one, I think it is. Now, typically on LEDs, we'll test this, but if you look inside the package, there'll be a big part and a small part. And the big part is typically connected to the shorter leg, and that is typically negative. Typically. Be sure to read your spec sheets accordingly before assuming. Do I have... This does not... That does not. Oh, that's just an empty can. Well, maybe we won't test it. Maybe we'll just YOLO it. Because I can't seem to find a battery at the moment. If you ever want to test an LED, you use a button battery, for like a watch button battery. They have enough internal resistance that you don't even need a resistor. And they're usually about 3 volts. I just don't happen to have any on hand right now, so. Well, okay, actually. Jinx makes a point. Set that down to about 3 volts. Let me find, I had a limiting resistor here. You need to go back on my screwdriver. Did I move it up here? Yeah, I moved them up here. What are these? And 10K. So I got my power supply set for about 3 volts. We're going to do a 10K current limiting resistor. Clip onto there. Yep. Positive is the longer leg. So, this one is marked with which side is positive. And every 5, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 45. 50. Whoop, that was 51. That one's 50. 55. And 60 are all reds. And just a quick glance around. All the longer legs are on the outside. Yes, they are. There is my circuit board holder. That's cool. Okay. There. That'll hold my circuit board while I stuff now. Now we just stuff the rest of them with greens on with the positive on the outside. I always called him Helping Hands Warg. But yeah, they've got two little alligator clips to clip onto something with a bar, a nice heavy sturdy base, and then a little magnifying glass, which I hardly ever use. But I've had these since I was like 6. You can probably find better, these ones you can probably find dirt cheap just about anywhere. But there are more fancy ones these days with arms that you can articulate and bend into whatever shape you need them. And some of them come with magnetic bases, and you can move everything around on them and get everything set up just the way you need it. Some soldering stations include them. I think the little stand that KB got for his has some arms that you can clip things into. Yep. Mine, though, are honest to goodness Radio Shack brand. Or for you guys over the pond, Tandy. Hi, Mike. You're gonna have to go back and watch the VOD. You missed me recapping a old vacuum tube signal generator that I was hoping was gonna be broke, but turned out it worked perfectly fine after I recapped it. So now I'm building a clock. See, I thought about that, Jinx, but you run the risk when you do that of popping the vacuum tubes. And at current prices of vacuum tubes, I didn't want to risk it. I may just have to get another LED. I watched it land right here. Where did it go? I'll find it later with my bare foot, like you always do with components. Yep, I have no clue where that LED went. I have more, though. I should. Yeah, I have more right there. But like I said, I'll find that one later by stepping on it. Oh yeah, but like I said, Jinx, the only way I'm gonna find it is walking around in this office barefoot, and I'm gonna step on it, and it's gonna stick into my foot. Because such is the way with electronic components. That's the only way they can be found. But luckily, it's a component that I have in stock and keep around usually. Oh, I guess that's the other thing, Iron Squirrel, that you need to do. Is as you start getting into this, start buying general things. Like, it's a good idea to keep a box of various values of capacitors around, various resistors, um, transistors might not be a bad idea too. LEDs. Oh, and look at that. I don't even need it, Jinx. They sent me an extra LED. But yeah, just as you start doing more and more projects, you'll start finding more and more things that you want and use on a regular basis. And then just start, stocking those. Nisa hungry. Nisa's gonna have some tortilla chips. Sorry. Plant's still got to be in there, but he was blocking half my camera. Okay. See if I can do this without losing them. Just a quick cursory glance. Looks like all the longer legs are outside. Yeah, if you build a lot of computers. Yeah, keep a lot of computer parts around. Now, the trick with the soldering LEDs. Solder one leg. And then move on. In this case, I'm soldering 60 of them, so I'll come back to it. But LEDs are one of those things that they can be sensitive to how much heat you induce into the part with your soldering iron. But this also serves a second purpose too. Because this is going to be the faceplate of something. You solder one leg on, then you check how well the LED is fitting against the circuit board. And it's a lot easier to adjust that fit when only one leg is soldered versus both. Thank you. Okay. I'm about 3/4 of the way through. What a jinx link here. Ah, Spoon, thank you for the 18 months of tier 1. And don't worry, you missed the oscilloscope shenanigans. Because I know you hate the evil oscilloscopes. I still don't know why, but you missed it. Okay, one leg of all of them is now soldered down. Now we look at them and we can tell right away. You can kind of see it there. You just make minor adjustments to those LEDs that are crooked. Okay, those are pretty good. And we got a couple right here. As I drop the circuit board. This one's very crooked. There's some more crooked ones. Gotta wait for the solder to cool before you move your finger. And I'm just making sure they're straight, flush against the circuit board. They don't have to be absolutely perfect, unless you want them to be. Okay, they look all to be good in a good adjustment. Oh, spoon redeemed to hydrate. I was getting kind of thirsty anyways. Thank you, Spoon. Now, Spoon. I can't time myself out. So I'm going to give you your points back on that one. Of course, you know what's funny? See, I've thought about redeeming that for in your stream, Spoon, but I knew you would do something silly like that. But here's what I find funny about you redeeming that, Spoon. You're a mod. You could time them out too. And I think I have it set up so you could actually go into my rewards queue and accept and reject and mark complete as well. I don't know. I can in KBs, so I'm assuming mine are set up the same way. I forgot what I even put in that rewards queue thing, honestly. All right. Okay, Google, start a timer for 5 minutes. And I'm sorry for anybody out there who has Google, but that was just easier than unlocking my phone and setting the timer manually. Ah, he updated the macro. Yay! Praise be to plan. Okay, settle down, Twitch. Libra, why? Oh, Lady Azarissa. I was like, who's got the cool looking mug there? wife's asking me if there's anything to that she wants to pick up from the store. And I'm like, anything you want me to smoke? I still gotta figure out how I can do that. A smoking stream. It'd have to be one where, you know, we're just like just chatting and watching the smoker. Cause, yeah. Alright, emote only chat is done. I take your point, sir. Now that doesn't mean you have to stop doing emotes, but you're not required. Okay. Now, I think you guys as mods can still chat normally, but Spoon redeemed emote only Bodhi again. And in my stream, just go to potato. No, just my preview did. No, my stream's going to potato. Okay. Warg's doing hydrate. Are we going to settle down, or do I have to call it quits for the day? We may have to call it quits, guys. We'll see. It looks to me just all over the place, but it might be settling down. Oh, I forgot to set a timer for 5 minutes. Okay, Google, set a timer for 4 minutes. But anyways, so like I was saying, for these, what I find best is put your fingers over the top of them and then clip them. That way they don't go flying across the room, and then the aforementioned finding them with your bare feet later will not happen. And I typically keep a little bucket of them because they're useful for little bodge wires and things. If you're trying to repair a circuit board, or if you're building something on proto board and need to build the traces yourself. But they're just steel, so they can be thrown away. And they're not worth much in the way of scrap. In KB's case, though, if he trims these and they shoot across the room, his luck, it'll be 7 that finds it with her bare feet. I had to extract one from my daughter's foot the other night. No, I say the other night. It was about a month ago. She stepped on it hard enough, it actually stuck into her skin. And I had to pull it out. No blood, though. You're a heretic eco-terrorist, huh? Hey, it's your channel points. What is that? Post. I also put in a request for a 6-pack of beer, so we'll see if my wife gets me that. I don't drink often, but close. Now you do know that if you keep that up, I'm gonna empty that cup, and then I'm gonna have to go get more spoon, which will mean a BRB screen. Okay. LEDs. Got about one more swallow, and then I gotta go put up the BRB screen. Okay. LEDs are on. All right. Thanks to spoons well hydrating me, we gotta do a BRB while I go refill this water again. And we're back. Okay. So all the LEDs are on. What does it recommend that we do next? They're talking about the Twitch site org because just being in IRC chat doesn't gain you the channel points. Actually being logged into the website does. So in order for Spoon to redeem all that stuff, he had to have actually been on Twitch.tv. But I know what Spoon usually does, and that's he does everything through Chatty, but he'll have the web page open off on the side so as to earn the channel points. Which is what I do for KB stream and Spoon stream. Prost. Yeah. So, I load up the stream, but I usually chat via IRC. Okay, so this is a DSI 8B20, I think. It's, I believe it's a temperature sensor. I'm not 100% sure. No, Spoon, we're not there yet. I'll... Although with the amount of dropped frames... Okay, it must be Twitch on the receiving end, because even streaming, I'm getting 95 down, 15 up. But yet I'm still dropping frames. So... I really want to finish this, so please let me finish this, Twitch. Then I'll give up my slot to some partner slut. Or to KB if he wants to start streaming after me. Okay. Temperature probe on there. What does it recommend next? Okay, Spoon. The buttons. Buttons, buttons. Who's got the buttons? Reset. The mode. And the add. Reset. Mode. And the add. Or plus as they're calling it on the silk screen. Okay, only one of them staying in. Well, fine then. Be that way. we go. That would probably be my wife responding to the request for beer. Sugar-free vegan biscuits, Jinx. Gotta keep the vegan in there. And maybe gluten-free? Okay. One of the buttons was not like the others. It was not fully pressed down. Okay, buttons are in. And I think next it recommends the sockets. Ah, yeah, I just got your notification that you subscribed there, Iron Squirrel. That's what that noise was on my phone. You have a new subscriber. What is this? This is an Atmel chip. Remove the sockets. That 80-pin socket goes there. Now, for doing chips or sockets, here's what I suggest you do. You put the socket in, you flip the board over, you get your solder that's not cooperating. And regardless of the size, you tack the two opposing, or you solder the two opposing corners. So in this case, I did this corner and this corner. Now, you flip the board back over. You make sure it is nice and flush and lined up. Yeah, that one's not quite touching all the way on the board. And we're good to go. Now you solder all the rest of the bins. No, it is not an 8086. Although I do want to build an 8-bit computer one of these days. But the one kit I was looking at, unfortunately, the guy that made the kits passed away. So it was an Altera clone. That the only excuse me, it was an IBM, one of the original IBMs, and you could actually use IBM compatible expansion cards in it. But I think it would be fun to build an 8-bit computer on stream. And then turn around and transfer Arduino bots functions to the 8-bit computer. I mean, yeah, I know you won't be on an Arduino anymore, but something like an app. No, Mike. I was thinking the Altair 8800. It'd be, I don't know. A Warg, the Mega, I think, is 8-bit already. But I would love to get like a replica of one of these, assemble it on stream, and then Arduino bot would live in it for the rest of his life. But finding a clone that isn't like $1,000 is hard, because everybody thinks that just because it's, you know, a nostalgic computer that people are going to pay thousands of dollars. It's like, yeah, I'd pay $1,000 for an original, maybe even two. But for a clone that I have to assemble myself, geez, make it like $500, please, or less. Just saying. The only downside to doing that is I would either have to learn how to write Arduino bot in assembly code, or find/write my own C compiler. Alright, so sockets are on. What does it suggest that I do next? The battery holder. Got it. Okay. Now, like I said, I don't have a battery for this. I used my last battery on the clock underneath Arduino bot, because that's what was wrong with that clock. The internal battery died in it, and so it was causing it to do weird things. Battery holder in. Oh. Put the battery holder in. So, this real-time clock won't keep time because it doesn't have a battery. Or I should say, it won't keep it'll lose its time once it's unplugged. Battery holder in. Then now is probably Yep. Next is the make sure all this stuff is nice and flat. Typically, I wouldn't trim off the stuff for a IC socket, but I've got a circuit board that's, or a thing that's going over the top of it. Speaking of which, let's clean under it before we block that out. So there isn't any flux residue left underneath it. Alright, flux residue removed. Note the direction of the digital tube. They're calling this a digital tube. Slots right in there perfectly. And it is showing, yeah, the dots down towards the bottom. Okay. That over. Again, do the diagonal corner thing. See, that side shifted on me. Now it's flat down against the board. And we'll make sure that side's flat down against the board. It is. Now we solder. That'll look pretty good. Trim off the excess. Okay. Mike, I just use a DGTV on YouTube now. Because it's ad-free and supposedly content match-free. I haven't... haven't gotten content matched yet. Okay, here's a programming header to change the programming if we want. this is the pin header for an IS or in-circuit serial programmer. And since it's an Atmel chip, it would use the AVR environment. Next is the Alright, next is the speaker and the capacitor and the USB socket. So it looks like the capacitor is the smallest out of all of those. So it will go in first. Negative towards the negatives. And again, solder one of the legs. Make sure it's flat against the board. Solder the other leg if it lets me. Why are you just sucking up the solder and... Soldering iron is just sucking up the solder and it's not going onto the leg of the capacitor. There we go. Okay, which side is positive for the speaker? Positive goes over there. I can already tell that this isn't going to sit flat, so I'm going to need to solder, adjust. And then solder the other leg. Trim. And finally, mini USB port, which is only used for power, nothing else. Which the mini USB port is slightly shorter than the speaker. Yay. So this is going to be fun. Move it in a shot where you can see me soldering. So solder on. Solder on one side of the housing. Make sure it's down in there. Burn my finger a little bit from the heat. Okay, good to go. Solder the other side of the housing. Solder all the little pins. Okay. Honestly, Jinx, they probably just had a bunch of them left over around, laying around from the 90s, and we're just trying to get rid of them. So they're throwing them on these little soldering kits. But oddly enough, the network tester I bought from Fluke, or I should say the boss bought from Fluke, still uses mini. Not even micro. Mini USB. Alright, the last step is to install the chips and then power it up. But before I do that, we're going to clean the board. Put those away up there. Again, for cleaning, I just use a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. And a toothbrush. Now, the flux that I use could theoretically be left on the boards. It doesn't need to be cleaned off because it is no clean flux that I use, but it looks better when you clean off the flux residue. Okay, guys, I just got isopropyl alcohol in the eyeball. That hurts. Yeah, I'm not sure how good it is for my eye either, but it seems like it has stopped hurting, and my eyes watered quite a bit there for a second. So I think I should be good. But it figures, I take the glasses off because I think the dangerous part's over. And then it's the isopropyl alcohol that gets me. Gives me clear vision. Nice, Jinx. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna perish, Spoon. Like I said, it just hurt there for a second. Then my eyes watered. Yeah, it's not perfect. But I got the flux off, so... What the flux? Alright, now I get to install... the real-time clock chip. Its legs are splayed out a little bit too much, so bend them in slightly. Make sure I put it in the right way. Okay, our clock has a clock. Now time to give it a brain. Alright, now it has a brain. Now the satisfying part. Make sure I got this in shot, because I didn't have it in shot. Was that a satisfying pull for you? Standoffs. They can be either used to hold it up in this position or in this position. Sounds like Brute Wife is home. Okay. Power cord, which it conveniently came with one because I don't think I have a USB mini anywhere. Oh wait, I do in the kit for my new network cable tester. Alright, time to see if we release the magic blue smoke, or if I built this correctly. There it goes. It's 2016 in my office. It is not 2012, and it is not January 1st, and it is not 12 o'clock. And as you can see, the LED slowly works its way around the thing. should be, yep, 12:01 now. So... It is what? It is the 13th today. Oh. I'll have to fling back around for that. Here we go. Oh, okay. You guys can't see the LCD screen all that well. Let me kill the lights. No, Spoon, there was not supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom or the magic blue smoke released. It was supposed to work perfectly like it just did. So that actually worked out pretty good. Now, obviously, like I said, it doesn't have a battery in it. So if I pull the power, it'll revert back to January 1st, 2012. Yep, it works, Edge. You can see the little green LED is going around in circles. Although I have one LED that's dimmer than the rest. And it's displaying the date and the time and the temperature. Don't know if it's quite that bright, Warg. I mean, we are... you are looking at it through a camera. So, Edge, this one is an Atmel. Let me see if I can get the exact part number off of it for you. It is the AT89... Is that 852? It's the AT89S52 24PU. And then it's a DS 100 or which, yes, it does require a real-time clock to do it, and it uses the DS 1302 real-time clock chip. Now, I can't take credit for this kit. This is all put together by SainSmart. Edge, let me try to find that one again. So it's this one right here, which I just noticed in my search. See, it's currently unavailable on Amazon too. But SainSmart sells it on Amazon. They might not have it. Yeah, see, I bought this on a, you know, just Amazon's telling me I bought it back in 2016. So. I don't know if I'll replace the one up by Arduino bot with this one, because this one would cover over part of the strobe lights on Arduino bot. But yeah, you never know. I like how this one scrolls instead of just flips. Well, Arduino bot does have a real-time clock in him. I just haven't bothered to write the code to display it on the LCD screen yet. Arduino bot is all custom. I bought the Arduino Mega. It was direct from Arduino, the store. So it's an authentic Amiga 2050 or 2560. Now, mind you, he started out as an Uno, but I ran out of memory really quick. And then it is the WZ5200 Ethernet controller, WizNet controller, plugged into it. And then I have one of these DS 1302 or whatever, our real-time clock modules on him. The LCD panel I bought off of Mauser. I just went and searched for the largest 4-line character display that I could find. There is a second Arduino Nano attached to him, and that's what controls the strobe lights. And literally I have a pin out on the Mega, just toggles the power to a bunch of NeoPixels and powers on that second Arduino. Yeah, mostly these days, Edge, I just buy generic whatever's on Amazon. I don't bother with going for the authentic. But when I started building an Arduino bot 8 years ago, the whole drama had not gone down yet. So Yeah, and that's what I find myself doing, Edge, is actually when I want one of the bigger ones, like a Mega or a, I just recently got a, I don't know where I put it, but I have it attached to a breadboard right now. It's literally, it's one of the Leonardos. I went with the Elegoo Leonardo. But that's so I can breadboard and test out these guys. These are the Pro Minis that act like a keyboard. You can program them to act like a keyboard or a mouse. And I've got a plan for... See, one of the games I play is Elite Dangerous. And I have plans of making a Switch box one. The alarm's going off. Because I set the alarm for 3 o'clock and it hit 3 o'clock. Edge, you can only do it with certain Arduinos. Like the older Unos and the Nanos that have the separate USB chip don't show up natively as a controller. You actually have to, you can get them to show up as a controller, but you have to have a driver installed. And since my default game machine that I use now is a Linux machine, it's easier just to get like the Pro Mini or a Leonardo, and it just natively shows up as a keyboard, as a, what is it, human input device in Linux with no drivers. In fact, I still might do that. I still might do that before I ship that thing off to KB. I still might make him a giant scroll wheel. What do you guys think?